lost my note if I die. Think I tried to write this song 370 times. I can never say this, but I think for a reason that's so much bigger than me.
It's been the craziest week of my life, and I know I've been very quiet on social media. I had an entire social media blackout, both on YouTube, which I didn't even have control over at the time, and on Instagram and everything. Well, I'm officially back, and the story is I got hacked. It was an insane week where Sunday night I was sitting right here. Everything was beautiful. I was actually setting some goals, excited for what's to come, and I went to bed expecting nothing. And the next morning, I wake up, I see some emails from my investors. I swipe right, on my phone to open it up, and it tells me, oh, you need to log in. So I go ahead and type in my password, and then in red little letters, it pops up, tells me, your password got changed less than an hour ago. And that moment, I kind of felt like a shudder going down my spine, and I jumped out of bed, immediately went to my computer, tried to log in, same thing again, password changed. I went to my other account, password changed. And that moment I knew, so I was into some big shit. From then on, it was about, maybe 10:20 a.m. in the morning. Things went really, really fast. I also noticed that I didn't have service on my phone. I couldn't even call any support. So, as things went on, I went on to call my phone provider who claimed that nothing changed, nothing went wrong, it must be on my side. So I called Apple, they said there's nothing wrong, it must be on T-Mobile's side. So we got on a three-way call, and at this point, it might have been maybe noon, I found out that somebody called my phone provider, T-Mobile, and rerouted my SIM card to someone else's phone, and then used that to enter all my accounts. It was very simple. Once they had my phone, they go to a Google account, for example. They say, hey, I forgot my password. Google says, no problem, we'll send you a code to your phone, which they had. All the time they had my Gmail account, they had my phone account. And then as I was able to recover one of my accounts, I found out that within minutes, they went into all my cryptocurrency exchanges, changed the passwords. They started going for my files. They went on my Dropbox, my Google Drive, changed passwords. They went to, what else? They went to my social media. They took over Twitter and changed passwords and started contacting people via my Twitter account. So within an hour of waking up, my whole life started falling apart to a crazy extent, and there was very limited things that I could do. This is really where the journey of recovery started, where this is when I stopped posting anywhere, because first of all, the hacker was in control of my YouTube. So from that day on, everything happened Monday within the first few hours of the day. I finally was able to regain access to my phone. From that point on, I decided the next day, okay, I can't get in touch with Google. I can't get in touch with Twitter. I was calling every single phone number possible. Nobody would pick up. It was mostly robots talking to me saying, hey, you can check out this website for more information. Check out our FAQ section. And all the kind of bullshit when in the moment someone is in control of all your digital life, you're just freaking the fuck out because look, I'm trying to salvage things, but there's nobody willing to help.
Response, yeah, so unfortunately there's nothing I can do. But let me go ahead and place you on a brief hold and see if I can find any other resources that may possibly help you either freeze it or something of that nature.
And that's why on Tuesday, March 27th, I decided to, just take things in my own hands. Now the problem was I wanted to call an Uber, but I couldn't even call an Uber because at that point I had already frozen all my credit cards. I'd frozen my bank accounts. I was essentially literally off the grid. So I had to pick up some cash, and with that cash, buy prepaid cards at the local Ralph's, and then use those prepaid cards to call myself an Uber, and we took the ride over to Google HQ LA, to YouTube HQ LA, and to Twitter HQ LA. And likely you'll probably see some B-roll here as we were trying to film some of that. But the same story happened again. Every single person turned us away. Sorry, there's nothing we can do. That's all I always said. Sometimes you said, maybe we'll escalate the ticket for you. We'll tell somebody about it. But the fact is, by the time I went to bed on the 27th, no further progress. In fact, I still had no control of any of my accounts. At this point, I thought, look, the hacker probably already stole all my money. Who knows what they're doing with my email? Maybe they're emailing all my investors. Maybe they're tweeting at a lot of celebrities and influencers using my brand. So the next day, I woke up and again, nothing changed. At that point, I was trying really hard to get in touch with the various cryptocurrency exchanges, and aside from Coinbase and Bittrex, there was little to no help. Some of them even claimed, oh, there's nothing ever changed. You never got hacked. I'm like, Jesus Christ, the password got changed. Are you blind? But luckily, Coinbase and Bittrex are very proactive and helped me, at least stop the process, freeze my accounts. And then because I was so helpless, because Google would not help me, I decided, you know what, I'm taking my own hands. That night at 1 a.m. in the morning, I hopped in a train and took my ride up to Silicon Valley. It was 1 a.m. in the morning. It was probably one of the scariest things ever because at that point, I didn't have any credit cards. I had a couple $100 in cash on me. Somebody was stealing my identity. Somebody knew every single move I made. Because they were in my Google account, they probably already knew where I was going. So I left the house with a couple $100, a couple switchblades, and I said, like, you know what? This better work, because if it doesn't, I don't know what will. So the next morning, I arrived in San Jose, and the even crazier part was that with cash, I'm somebody from the Bitcoin world, and people always say, Bitcoin, you can't even buy coffee with it. What is it worth? So here I was in San Jose with a couple $100 of cash in my pocket, and I couldn't use the cash. I tried calling an Uber, but Uber at that point, they didn't like the prepaid cards, I guess, so they started declining my drives. At the same time, Uber doesn't take cash. And funny enough, I tried to get a metro ticket down in San Jose, and they said no bills accepted. I even took a picture, maybe we'll overlay it. So I had cash in my pocket, but nobody wanted to take my cash. So it took a while until I figured things out, and I took my next ride over to Mountain View, California, where then, I just barged into, I guess, Google HQ. And, I talked to some people in the lobby, but the same thing happened to me again. Sorry, there's nothing we can do. And it was frustrating at a point because I figured, if there's anybody that can fix it, it would obviously be Mountain View. The team must be sitting somewhere at Mountain View because I figured, proximity is power. I understand I won't just luckily walk into those people, but I would have hoped that at least somebody can connect me to them, right? Because if anybody, it would have been right there. So they weren't really giving me any help. They just provided me some card for bizdev@google.com, which isn't even like a specific, email address. It's something you'll probably find online. Which, by the way, bizdev@google.com never got back to me. So after a couple minutes of talking to them, the security walked up to me and was like, "Oh, are you a Google employee here?" I said, "No, I'm just contacting some people at Google." And like, "Oh, okay." And basically, after a very short time, it's literally 30 minutes on campus, I got the sign, basically, get the heck out. And I wasn't even making a scene. So then I again went to local Starbucks right down the street. I was trying to figure out what could I do next. I started dawning on me. My final hope of getting my accounts back got lost when I reached out to all the phone numbers. I talked to all the people I knew. I went to 3 different headquarters: YouTube HQ LA, Google HQ LA, global Google HQ, and nobody was able to help. So at that time, that is kind of like when the depression, so to say, kicked in. I was like, look, I just lost so much money. All the money was on my crypto exchanges. I lost my personal brand. The hacker was in control of both my Twitter account, of my YouTube account, and who knows what else he was going to get access to because he had so much info. He literally had a copy of my driver's license because he dug it up somewhere. So I really didn't know what was coming next because the whole crypto side of things just fell apart because obviously I lost my crypto. And also my personal brand fell apart. 2 big parts that have been, integral parts of my life. And even if things like the crypto hedge fund, he had my email. So he was able to talk to, my investors. He had my Google Drive with hundreds of gigabytes worth of data. So I literally felt like I lost my identity because somebody else had it. Somebody else had my memories of the past few years. Somebody else had all my business documents. Somebody else had my ways of communication. And funny enough, the moment when I thought it was all over, later that night at midnight, I received an email that I finally got my accounts back. And it wasn't because of any of the public venues. It was because of a dear friend of mine who helped me out, who had a contact at Google. And I won't name the names because I don't want them to get flooded by emails of people trying to get help for Google. But it also, while I'm so grateful that I was able to get the accounts back, I also recognize that, other people that aren't as privileged as me to be as well connected and get help, they would have been lost. They would not have been able to get their accesses back. So luckily enough, that night I was able to get my Gmail accounts back, and with that I was able to get all the other accesses back, my crypto, back my social media and everything. And as of now, essentially I didn't lose anything except for my social security number, I guess, and my driver's license, which is scary enough in and of itself. But at the end, like, I didn't lose my accounts, I didn't lose my money, but it taught me an incredible lesson. The takeaway of all this is twofold. First of all, I think we totally underestimate the importance of online security and online privacy. It really, we don't really recognize how big of a role it plays in our lives. Not until you lose, you recognize it. Because think about it this way: Google, it's just your Google accounts, it's your Gmail, it's your communication. You probably don't have, I don't even know my mom's phone number. I have to check my phone for it. Sorry, Mom. But at the same time, when you go into emails, I don't know the emails of all my friends, of my business partners and whatnot. I just type their names into my Gmail bar and it fills in the rest for me. So you lose all your contacts. You lose all the history of any emails you ever sent. You lose all your data. My Google Drive has hundreds of gigabytes worth of data. All gone, inaccessible. Luckily enough, I backed up my my books on other servers, so I at least didn't lose that potentially. On top of that, there's so many other layers. We use Google forget about Google. We use our emails as a backup for all our other accounts, right? So if somebody's able to get into email, they're basically able to get everything. And imagine if somebody takes your email, your social media, and everything, you're basically isolated from the world. So with that experience, I really understood that we have to take a close look at our online security as our lives move online. When I was younger, maybe I was 12 years old, I got hacked before. At least it appeared that way because my mouse started moving and it wasn't me moving the mouse. And I saw the mouse deleting things and all that kind of stuff. But the solution was simple. I unplugged the Ethernet cable from my computer and he was out. Now we live in a cloud world, where everything is online, where we don't even control the things that we think we control. Because the truth is, you might say, oh, I have this much money. No, you don't. It's sitting in the bank account or it's sitting in the crypto exchange. It's not actually in your physical possession. The same goes for your data. You might say, let's say for example, photographer, I have I've got millions of pictures and all that kind of stuff, or maybe some piece of art or a book, manuscripts, that stuff. You might think you have it. Not really, unless you locally, saved it somewhere. Because it literally takes 1 minute and you lose it all. This is what I've recognized this week, where I woke up, everything was beautiful the night before. I was setting goals. The next morning, all gone. So don't wait till tomorrow to make those saves. Don't wait till tomorrow to rethink your security. And because I want to really go into this, we're going to shoot another video that will be specifically kind of a how-to video, how we can take your security and your online privacy to the next level to make sure whatever happened to me won't be happening to you. Because the sad part is, I thought, man, this guy is ingenious for rerouting my phone number. But the sad part is, there was a New York Times article written about this in August 2017. People have been stolen millions of dollars from. So this has been happening over and over and over again, and nobody's doing anything about it. So I may or may not be filing a lawsuit against certain parties involved. But the fact is, we need to stand after this. We need to make a change, and this is why I'm so, it has only reinvigorated my whole mission and vision, for me, to step up to the whole centralized system, to make changes to the centralized play. Because the problem is, if my whole life is in the hands of one company, I'm literally, putting way too much power into that one company, where if I'm not in their crisis, they can take it all away. They can take away my data. They can take away my money. They can take away my ability to reach out to my friends, family, business partners. So we really need to rethink how we live our online lives and increase the security that we have, and also question, why do we give certain players so much power, where when in the moment of need, when I walk up to headquarters, when I call different numbers, I get zero help. So guys, but the final lesson that I honestly learned through this has nothing to do with security or privacy. It has all to do with gratitude. Not last week, but the week before, sometimes, I was really overwhelmed. I've had a lot of stuff going on, just like business wise, and you as an entrepreneur, I think we so oftentimes have that feeling of overwhelm. A feeling where we think, things aren't going as we had hoped, as we expected, or maybe there's just so much work to do, where for every item you scratch off the to-do list, there's 5 other items popping up. There's always shit happening. But this week really gave me that level of gratitude, where I'm like, all the problems I had 2 weeks ago, I wish I had those problems right now. Because whatever, once the hacking started, I couldn't even have those problems anymore, because I didn't have access. So the fact is, once, when I was sitting in the train after San Jose, and I've like, it was 1 a.m. in the morning, it was kind of sketchy, not gonna lie, sitting in the bus with lots of strangers at 3 a.m. in the morning, with no credit cards, your ID stolen and everything. And I just, all I could do is literally look out the window, listen to music, and I thought a lot. And it really makes you more grateful. It really makes you worry less about the problems you think you have. And I know that even, being hacked is not as big of a problem. There's, other people have serious medical issues. Other people, they die. There's wars and all that kind of stuff. So we always got to keep it relative. My issue, like my horrible issue last week, might seem small if you added another layer of problems on top. But the truth is, we will always find reasons to be upset. We will always find reasons to be unhappy. We'll always find reasons to be unfulfilled. The fact is, whatever you focus on, that will be your reality. So whatever's going on in your life right now, just be grateful, because everything could be taken away in a day's notice, in a minute's notice. And unless you set up the right structures, you probably have no control over it. You can't just say, let me get it back, because if it's in the hands of others, that's all there is. And that's why I'm trying to build a future, and I'm advocating for a future where there's greater individual control, because this is just 2018. I gave the example when I was 12 years old, I could just unplug the internet cable. Now with the cloud, and funny enough, it was a day before I got hacked that I posted a video of the future, I believe it was the future of augmented reality, in the Dawn of Man series. And I talked about how in the future, if you connect the augmented reality devices to your brain, imagine your brain getting hacked. Imagine and basically a limb getting hacked, your body getting hacked if you have a fully machine body. That stuff's a reality. And this week, the helplessness that I felt with my online accounts, imagine that on a whole nother level, where the hacker would be able, to control your arm, would be able to control your brain. Imagine having, contact lenses that, or just like some layer on your eyes that will show you things, and all of a sudden he's able to show you anything else. And now imagine if that technology, again, was in the control of Google, where I have to call multiple numbers, I have to show up to HQs, and I get no help. Imagine that applies when we're talking about your brains. It's literally game over at that point. So if we move into the future with these amazing technologies, I do not feel confident having those kind of powers and those kind of responsibilities with centralized players. At the end, I do want to say, thank you to Google for helping me get my accounts back, but I'm still, I'm not satisfied with the process. The process was flawed. The process was dangerous, where if I didn't have extra, I had certain security levels in place that other people don't have, and I had certain connections that other people don't have. So for the average person, my last week could have been game over. So guys, with this video, I just want to catch up on my life. I know I've been quiet, and that's exactly why. It's been a crazy ride, but at the end of the day, make sure you increase your level of security, and I'm going to give you hands-on practices and steps to do that in the next video that we'll post tomorrow. But more importantly, secondly, just be fucking grateful for what you have right now, because understand, whether it's your health, your online life, or whatever, everything can be taken away in a heartbeat. So thanks for watching this episode, guys. We'll be back tomorrow, and we've got tons of vlogs from the previous 2 weeks that we haven't posted yet, so I'm pumped for this week, and thanks for sticking along. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Lastly, I just want to give a quick thank you to anybody and everybody that helped me throughout this process. I'm going to keep you guys anonymous just for your own security, since this is about a touchy subject. But you know who you are. Look, even if you weren't able to to get me through to the right people, it's just the fact that you try your best. You were there, giving me support, texting me back and forth, getting me at least, whether it was technical support, emotional support, everything is super appreciated. It was a hard week, but you know who you are, so thanks for that.
Yeah, this my note if I die. Think I try to write this song 3